over the rainbow, birds fly over the rainbow.
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be joined by Big D from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, and we're going to be reviewing the 2011 movie Cars 2. So, in this movie, star race car Lightning McQueen and his pal Mater head overseas to compete in a World Grand Prix race, and but the road to the championship becomes rocky as Mater gets caught up in an intriguing adventure of his own, international espionage. So before I get into my part, I'm going to let Big D do his part. So go ahead and take it away, Big D.
Hey everyone, this is the Big D of Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews, and I'm back with a little collab with Ogre Boy. This time it's going to be the weakest of the Disney Pixar films, Cars 2 from 2011. Now, this film, I feel like, is alright, but it's not as good as its predecessor, because while it focuses more on Tow Mater, once again voiced by Larry the Cable Guy, I am going to say it just doesn't have much of the charm as its predecessor. In the film, Lightning McQueen and Mater head overseas to compete in the first ever World Grand Prix promoting a new alternative fuel, but Mater accidentally becomes involved in an international espionage that could determine both his and Lightning's fate. Now, while I appreciate they have Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy back, which, Ogre Boy, I know you're not that big of a Larry the Cable Guy person. You know I'm an understanding person. They both still did fine and what have you. But I will say it is as visually appealing as other Disney Pixar films. But however, the story might not be as great and what have you. And what's more is, it just lacked the warmth and charm of the first film in ways. Also, I do appreciate having a little bit of fun moments, but again, it just doesn't have as much feel as the first film does. Although the third film, which came out 6 years later, was much better of a redemption. And what's more is, we don't get to hear much or see much of the characters from the first film and what have you. We do have new characters voiced by Sir Michael Caine, Emily Ward, John Turturro, A. Izzard, Joe Montana, Peter Jacobson, and even Bruce Campbell. And while we do have a pretty good score from Michael Giacchino, and featuring artists like Weezer, Robbie Williams, Brad Paisley, and a host of others contributing to the soundtrack, that was fine and what have you. I guess what I'm trying to say is, while the film mostly focuses on Mater and not Lightning much, I'm going to say Cars 2 is kind of a slight letdown from the first film. I just wish it could have been a little better, though. So with everything I've said, I feel like this is probably the weakest of all the Disney Pixar films in my opinion. And, well, I kind of do agree with lots of the critics out there. So as always, thanks for making me a part of this, Ogre Boy. Good to have you back and collabing with you once again. Until next time, this is the Big D saying, see ya.
Thank you, Big D. As always, it's great to have you on here, and everything is great to be back and collabing with you again. As far as this movie goes, I'm not a big fan of Cars 2. I've never really been one. I've always felt it's one of the weakest Pixar movies. Up until a couple years ago, I would even say it was my least favorite. And after rewatching it again tonight, I'm debating whether it is my least favorite or not. I'm going to have to rewatch Lightyear again, because I've only seen it once and everything. But I remember when I saw that one, I felt like it overtook Cars 2 as my least favorite. And everything. But I will say, as far as the positives go, I'll start off with the good. The animation is pretty good. I think that the animation looks really good, especially in the third act. It's like really weird. It went from like just a regular Pixar animated movie to having this photorealistic backgrounds during the third act when they're flying through the city and stuff. When they get to London and stuff, it has this like photorealistic look in the background, and it looks pretty cool. I think it was one of the first Pixar movies to really do that. A lot of them have had the photorealistic background since then and stuff, but this is definitely one of the first real notable ones to me. And I will say that it does have some pretty good action sequences. There's some pretty fun moments as far as action goes. It's not like super great, but for being a G-rated movie, this movie has a lot of freaking action in it, and a lot of cars die in it and stuff. It's pretty crazy, and everything. So I gotta say that the action is kind of intense for a G-rated movie and stuff, and it's got some fun moments. And the mystery of what is going on with the gas and stuff with these cars and stuff is pretty good. It kind of has a Scooby-Doo ending and stuff where the person is revealed and stuff, but it's not like a super great story. But I will say that some of it is okay, but it's not super great. But the mystery is okay. It's good enough for the story. The score by Michael Giacchino is pretty good. I do definitely prefer this score for Cars 1, but I think that Giacchino's score fits the tone of this movie pretty well, and with it being a spy adventure movie, it needed something different than what Randy Newman brought to the first Cars movie. So I think his score was good enough, and everything, and I think the voice cast is fine in here. Even though I'm not really a big fan of Larry the Cable Guy, I think he's fine as Mater. He makes him totally obnoxious in this movie, though, and everything, and that's one of the things I'll get to in my negatives. But I think that the rest of the voice cast are fine. Owen Wilson is once again good as Lightning McQueen, although they kind of go back to making him a little bit they try to make him unlikable because of Mater, but you actually can understand where he's coming from if you look at him. Look at the way things are going and stuff. I don't really like the way they did Lightning McQueen in this movie. They sidelined him, and then they made him where he was mean to Mater at the beginning of the movie, and then he's kissing his butt at the end of it. I didn't really like the way they did it with him. It just wasn't really that good. His character arc wasn't really anything special or even added anything to the story. I will say that I think that Finn McMissile is a really good new side character that is only in this Cars movie. He's voiced by Michael Caine, and he does a really great job doing his voice, and he's a really likable spy character. I thought he was pretty cool, but nothing super memorable as far as the new characters go. He's really the only one that stands out. Francisco, or whatever his name is, who's competing with Lightning McQueen, voiced by John Turturro, he's just pretty much a knockoff of Chick Hicks, except not as bad. He's not as cocky and not as greedy as Chick Hicks, but he's still an annoying character, and everything. I think John Turturro did a good job voicing him. I just don't really care for the character, and everything. So as far as a lot of our main characters from the first one are just sidelined in this one and everything, and to me it doesn't work. The story just could have been so much better. But yeah, so I feel like the story is really pretty lacking as far as Pixar movies go and everything. I'll say that the first Cars movie is not one of my favorites either. I like it a lot more now than I did when it first came out. This one, I think I like it about the same as I did when I saw it for the first time. I just don't think it's very good, and everything. The story just isn't very good, and it has this over sentimental little side plot going on where Mater doesn't want to have any of his scratches or dents fixed and everything because he's gotten them along the way in life and stuff. It's just really kind of corny and cringy and stuff, but that's partially just because Mater is a corny and cringy character because he's voiced by Larry the Cable Guy and everything, and they just make him overly sentimental and annoying, and that's coming from someone who's an overly sentimental dude and everything. But Mater gets on my nerves in this movie really bad. and everything, and making him the main character is just one of the biggest mistakes in Pixar history. It was the biggest mistake in Pixar history until they did the Lightyear movie to me, and everything. But I feel like this could have been a good episode of like Mater's Tall Tales. They could have shortened it down to a little 30-minute thing where Mater's doing, or a little 5-minute short where he's doing spy stuff and everything. But it doesn't work and everything. I mean, I don't really like this movie really. I just find it to be pretty mediocre and just not very entertaining and everything. And we didn't need a Cars movie focused on Mater being a spy. It just, you go from the first movie to this one, and the tonal shift, everything is just so different. It doesn't make sense and everything. And there was parts where it's trying to be this serious spy drama, and then it's being this goofy comedy with Mater, and none of the tone and stuff works in this movie, and everything. And like I said, it could have been so much better. So all in all, I think this is easily one of the worst movies Pixar has ever given us. If it's not my least favorite, it's my second least favorite after Lightyear, like I said. But I'll be able to tell you for sure when I rewatch Lightyear, because I haven't seen that one since the theater, and everything. But aside from some fun action and stuff, there's not really much this movie has to offer and everything. And it's one that I pretty much just watch when I'm watching the Pixar movies. And even if I'm in the mood for a Cars movie, I'd go to the first or third movie over this one. I love both of those movies compared to this one. This one I just don't really care for. So all in all, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. There are worse movies out there. There's worse sequels, worse stuff out there, but it's not very good and everything. And it's definitely one of the biggest lows in Pixar's history. So I'd give Cars 2 a 5 out of 10, and really and truly I feel like that's being a little bit nice, but I do feel like it's watchable. It just isn't very good. So anyway, thank you Big D for joining me on this video. It's great to collab with you again. Hope you want to join me on more of the Pixar reviews still, and everything. And hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.